So there were two brothers who loved baseball and wondered whether they could play the sport that they liked when they eventually got to heaven. So they swore that whoever went to heaven first would find some way to tell the living brother and let him know whether or not there is baseball in heaven. And so the oldest brother passed away a week later, and on the night he was buried, the big brother reappeared to the little brother, and the little brother asked, "So, is there baseball in heaven?" And the older brother responded, "Well, I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is there is baseball in heaven." "That's great," said the younger brother, "but what's the bad news?" The big brother replied, "Well, the bad news is that you and I are playing against St. Peter on Sunday." Friends, faith is the dedication, attitude, and belief of something that is not seen. We know it exists, but we aren't experiencing the finality and expression of what we long for in its completion. Friends, the human person finds himself longing for more, because what we experience right now can't be it. Last weekend, Jesus invited the mute man to be opened, removing his impediment and giving him the opportunity to speak of the goodness of the Lord. Now, that's a task, and it's easy to do that task when things are going well. But how about when things are not going well? The first reading illustrates an intentional servant affirming himself of the love of the Lord, a love that is steadfast, a love that is present and independent of the current circumstance. Friends, when we place our faith into practice, we remain stable individuals, determined, and not focused about what is around us, but focused on what is in front of us. And so we hear, faith without works is dead. That's a very interesting statement. It doesn't mean that you have to prove your faith according to any human standard. It doesn't mean that you have to tattoo the name of Jesus on your forehead just to prove that you are a disciple. It does not mean that you have to sign up for every single ministry in the church. Those things can be superficial things, just in practice, just doing it. However, it does mean that if you do have faith, how do you show it? Is it believable? And is it genuine when I see your actions? Friends, we are called to live knowing that all we ever desire will never be given in this world, but we have a destiny. However, temptations and pursuits of things that remain in this world cannot be the things that drive us. Sloth, pride, envy, greed, gluttony, anger, lust. They are called vices because they make us rulers of this world. However, you and I have been called and invited to be co-heirs of a kingdom that has no end. And since we have faith, knowing that there is something more than just this, then we act like it by being steadfast. We act like it by being humble. We act like it by being kind. We act like it by being charitable. We act like it by being temperate, by denying ourselves of what we want, because what we want isn't always a necessity. We act as co-heirs of a kingdom that has no end by also being patient. We act like it by being chaste, focusing on what is ours instead of what isn't. Who do people say that I am? In the gospel, Peter testified that Jesus is the Son of God. And this sonship is described as procession, that Jesus, the Son of God, came from the Father. Jesus is God on earth. He is with us and actively showing us the way to live life to the fullest. Friends, there is no other God to serve. And fortunately for you and me, faith in this God saves. Because the faith that we have is realized when we attain all that we have ever hoped for and more. And you and I know that there is nothing more to look forward to than love, peace, joy, and stability. Therefore, friends, who do you serve? Peter was rebuked by Jesus, and although Peter was behind Jesus, in support of Jesus, he didn't fully realize that we serve a God that is bigger than suffering, that we serve a God that is bigger than death. Friends, the prosperity gospel that we hear sometimes from our Protestant friends, it's so cute. But those so-called blessings in life do not define you and never will. So stop looking for what isn't yours and focus on what is yours. And that is the love of Jesus, which will never, ever be taken away from you. Therefore, we live strong, not allowing the temptations and glory of the world to throw us off course. If you and I have faith, we know that the suffering of this life is a temporary thing. There's always more than what meets the eye. Therefore, friends, there is no room for pity parties because the Lord has not cheated you. In fact, the Lord has entrusted you with many gifts and many opportunities to demonstrate his love and joy to the whole wide world. You need nothing else other than you. You have what it takes to demonstrate God's love. You have what it takes to be an ambassador of his goodness. You have what it takes to be an agent of his hope. Friends, have any of you seen a star? A star shines bright from far away. A star shines bright and doesn't even know that it's shining. And yet, we see it. We are amazed by it. And sometimes we put on special glasses in the middle of the day to see what happens when the star shines in a different way. However, you and I are far better than the sun. You and I are made in the image and likeness of God. You can intentionally reject the good and accept the bad, and vice versa. You can even come up here and slap Father Houston right in the face. Now, I don't recommend that, of course. There will be consequences to your actions. Don't let this chasuble and smiley face fool you. On the other hand, friends, what we can do in putting our faith in action, we can serve our neighbor. We can do something nice for our elderly neighbor. We might call our parents to make their day, or even make notes to all the coworkers and peers, affirming them of their own gifts and talents. Friends, there is no cookie-cutter way to show God's love because God is endless. So too are our opportunities to demonstrate the faith that we know. Now, how do we know that God exists? And how do we know that God is alive for you? May I suggest, how about we focus on our blessings, not only on the material stuff, but also what is on the inside. Celebrate that. Own that. And when you do, use that. Through you, others have the opportunity to witness Christ through your faith. And so, friends, today, we rise up to the opportunity with great joy and with great thanksgiving.